9.
Okay.
And this is, expanding a little bit on Canto 9, Chapter 4, 5, because it's to do with the pastimes of Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. So I've actually done some notes and all that, and as I go through it, I hope it becomes clear. So I'm just seeking the blessings of Lord Chaitanya and Radha Krishna and Guru Parampara, Sat Goswamis and all that. So we can seek their blessings and relish the pastimes and learn something from it for our benefit and for everybody else's benefit. So as I do the Mangala Charan, I'll just carry on with this. So Om Gyanatimmirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmultam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishaka Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patita nama pavanebhyo vaishnavobhyo namo namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Om
Om
Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Gautamam Devim
Devim
Saraswati
Saraswati
Vyasam
Tato Jayam
Jayam
Devi
Niyat
Rashtraprayashu
Nastapasya Bhadreshu
Bhadreshu
Nityam.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhakti Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhakti Nashke
Krishna Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah Namo Pankaja Navaya Namo Pankaja Manine Namo Pankaja Netraya Namaste Pankajangre.
Jai. Thank you very much, everyone. Glad everyone is participating and join in whenever you can. Because as I'm going through this is really, the say expanding on Canto 9. I covered the instructions last time, so I'll just use some of that, expand a little bit on this pastime. So we know that the 9th canto includes the pastimes of Ram, Sitaram, Lakshmana. But this is the part, chapter 4 and 5, where Ambarish Maharaj gets offended by Durvasa Muni, and then the Durvasa Muni's life gets spared, and how that happens. And this is just to understand how this dialogue takes place between Lord Narayan and Durvasa Muni, and how what we can learn from it about the characteristics, personality of both Durvasa Muni and Ambarish Maharaj. So what I've done is cover this, especially titling, I'm titling Conquering the Unconquerable. Really, Krishna is totally unconquerable, really. But still, how can one conquer someone or somebody who is totally unconquerable, really? And who does that actually? So we're going to learn a little bit from these pastimes of Ambarish Maharaj, is how that can become possible, really. So by developing a loving relationship with Krishna, really, that is how one can conquer Krishna who is totally unconquerable. But Krishna has innumerable qualities. He's unlimited. Krishna is unlimited. So he's got unlimited qualities. We can't put a limit on it. As Prabhupada explains many times, he says, we are all limited, but Krishna is unlimited. And if you try to think, oh, God is limited, then we're using our minute, tiny intelligence trying to understand Krishna and putting him in our own category. So he's beyond that. But 64 main qualities are there of Krishna. But one of them, which is the prema bhasya, submissive to love, where Krishna has got this quality where he actually submits to prema or to love. But that's got to be unmotivational. So it's to the unmotivated love for Krishna in the devotee that becomes a possessive attraction. When we, when wonderful devotees who are so advanced, some are actually eternal associates of Krishna, and some are like new. We are all trying to become devotees, and we are all kind of new devotees, as we might call it. But how much does Krishna reciprocate? So there is in everyone's heart, there is love for Krishna, but it gets uncovered only by hearing and chanting, actually. So that is the process we have to understand. So it's actually even controlling the uncontrollable. Conquering the unconquerable, but controlling the unconquerable. You can't control Krishna. Krishna is beyond anybody's control. But we think we are independent. So listening to Prabhupada's lecture, and he was saying that, everybody thinks that, they are not under control. But actually, we are all under control of material laws and the laws of the body and the mind and the intelligence and what we know. So, but Krishna is uncontrollable. But how can he be controlled? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante, tam sathai vajamiham. So, Riyansh, do you know this verse? I haven't written it.
Ye yata mam prapadyante tam stataiva vajamyaham mama vartamana vartante manusya partha sarvasha.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Well
You know
done,
the
Rian.
meaning of it? It's amazing, isn't it? I wouldn't have done it. Do you know the meaning of it?
I don't know, but
As one surrender, all it says, all surrender to me, I reward them accordingly.
now I remember.
Go on then, if you remember more. I've only got this bit here. Any other bit you can remember? Yeah, something about they all follow my path or come to me or something like that. Anyway, I haven't got the whole verse here, but it doesn't matter. This is the more important bit. As one surrenders to me, Krishna is saying, I reward them accordingly. So, yatamam prapadyante, that verse is important. And as one surrenders, I reciprocate accordingly. So that's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. But sometimes we don't understand it. So Krishna gives himself completely when one fully surrenders completely as well. But we're not totally, completely surrendered. We got all these desires, we're attached to this, that, other. We got motivated love sometimes. Either we want good health or good bank balance, this, that, good business. So we have got a lot of motivations actually, but there are devotees who actually are totally unmotivated. And to develop that is not easy. And this is actually shown in Maharaja Ambarish's pastimes, Yeah?
Hi, can I tell the meaning?
Yes, go on.
I remember that Krishna says that, I remember the full translation. Can I tell?
Yes, go on.
In whatever way people surrender unto me, I reciprocate with them accordingly. Everyone follows my path knowingly or unknowingly, O son of Pritha.
So knowingly or unknowingly, everybody follows the path of Krishna. Yeah. Well done. Thank you, Riyaz. So we're
Remember
looking
the
at,
whole translation.
sorry?
I remember the whole translation.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. So, we're trying to understand more from this Maharaja Ambarish's pastimes. So actually, controlling the uncontrollable, this is all confirmed by Lord Brahma, who says dedicating body, mind to discussing and hearing Krishna's activities. So we can develop that. Jiva Goswami says that even a slightest effort to hear about Krishna from a pure Vaishnava. So we have to hear this Krishna's pastimes from a pure Vaishnava. Um, Also, the processes of Paramahansa path, which is developing unmotivated love, which empowers the devotees to control or conquer Krishna, who is uncontrollable or unconquerable. So there are examples of Madhavendra Puri, who is a Paramhansa. We can take examples. Srila Prabhupada also says that this can be done by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from a pure devotee and then transcend the modes of material nature. And the message of the Srimad Bhagavatam is actually Nam Sankirtan, as confirmed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as well. So along with this, there should be Archa Vidhi, like worship of deity of Krishna, which Maharaj Ambarish shows as well. So this is actually, I'm going to try and use some of my notes as well. So actually, love for Krishna in a devotee. So this is also in the nectar of devotion that we have to have Shraddha, faith, and then that develops into ultimately to a rasa or ruchi. So it says the message of Srimad Bhagavatam is Nam Sankirtan, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, but Nam Sankirtan is actually also hearing and reading Srimad Bhagavatam. They both go together. So even Krishna confirms this, in when he's explaining this to the gopis, So we start to understand that, in this pastime, it becomes clear that there is a difference between a yogi and a pure devotee, in that a yogi becomes like a mystic with yogic siddhis, which he becomes proud of. And then yogis becomes more of a speculator. He speculates on his powers and see what he experiments with them. And then they perform austerities and all that. So yogis, but they still remain ignorant about the absolute truth. So yogis, on that path, like we will see this in the character of Durvasa as well. So whereas a pure devotee pulls or draws or attracts Krishna's heart towards them, and this can make even a baby Krishna dance as well. And Krishna do amazing things for the devotees. So he even incarnates so in so many different incarnations, just to come. And he says in the Bhagavad Gita, actually, I come to to paritranai sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam. So in order to annihilate the miscreants and to protect my devotees, I come. And these pastimes of Ambarish Maharaja, they're actually a triumph of a pure devotee, which is, I should say, Maharaj. I got a mistake. So Ambarish Maharaj, who is actually a pure devotee, and then a failure of a mystic, who is Durvasa Muni, to conquer the Lord. A bit of mistakes there. So this book, which is actually Saints Are My Hearts by His Holiness Shiva Maharaj, is actually a wonderful text into how Lord Narayan explains to Durvasa a pure devotee's heart. So what is a pure devotee's heart, and why the Lord loves his pure devotees, and why pure devotees love the Lord? which is actually difficult for Durvasa to actually understand. We'll see in this conversation in this book, which is actually a wonderful book. So this is where it all starts, where Maharaja Ambarish is actually fully engaged in worshipping Krishna as deities, and he also engages all the people in his kingdom to worship Krishna. He's always in cleaning the temple, preparing prasad. He's always engaged all his senses, and we read this before, that he's doing the Mahabhishek. He performed the bathing ceremony, and he dressed the deities with nice clothing, ornaments, and fragrant flower garlands, and with attention he worshipped Krishna. All greatly fortunate Brahmins were also, free from material desires. So he encouraged everyone within his kingdom to be free of material desires, and that was the characteristics of Maharaja Ambarish. But actually, this is what we talked about as well last week. How Durvasa Muni comes to uninvited, just as Ambarish Maharaj was about to break his Ekadasi fast. He requested the sage to eat when Durvasa Muni appeared unannounced, and then Durvasa, gladly accepted. But the king, Durvasa, gladly accepted, but he asked that he wanted to go and bathe and then meditate at the Yamuna River. So not only was he actually late for coming back, but he delayed and made it difficult for the Ambarish Maharaj to break his fast. So we know this little bit of the pastime, and then he curses unnecessarily. He curses, and then Durvasa Muni was chased by the Sudarshan Chakra. So actually, the Sudarshan Chakra was actually given to Ambarish Maharaj by Lord Narayan. He said to protect him. Lord Narayan protects his devotees there because he knows that the devotees will never ask for any protection. That's why Lord Narayan protects them. So this is being chased, and then he has to go to Lord Narayan. So this is actually nicely explained in this book, which is actually this book here, which says Sadhavo Hridayam Mahyam, Saints Are My Heart. It's by Shivram Maharaj, a wonderful book. Actually, he gave it to me, signed it personally to Madhusudana Das. May all wonderful things be yours. Shivram Maharaj, long time ago, so can't remember when, but this whole book is actually full of wonderful pictures like these, where Lord Narayan is facing Durvasa Muni finally when he goes to Lord Narayan. And this dialogue starts actually, and Shivram Maharaj explains this dialogue in a very interesting and a conversation way between Lord Narayan and Durvasa Muni that unfolds the characteristics of Durvasa Muni. Also, Lord Narayan not only clarifies certain things to Durvasa Muni, but exposes and unravels Durvasa's character and personality, why he has put himself into this situation, and who Durvasa Muni is actually as well. There's some wonderful little pictures like these within the book as well. So get a chance to get hold of that book, and it's wonderfully presented by Shivram Maharaj. So wonderful pictures of Lord Narayan also. So when he starts like this, when chapter 1, it starts off from the verse in the Bhagavatam, which is from, I think, Canto 463 on to about 71 or something like that. Those are the words. We'll go through them. But it starts off by saying the Supreme Personality of Godhead said to the Brahman. Riyanshu, would you like to read this verse?
Shri Bhagavan Vacha Aham Bhakta Karadino He Aswatantra Ivadvija Sadhuvri Rasardayo Bhaktir Bhakta Janapriya.
Wonderful. And the translation, you want to read it? Oops.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said to the Brahmana, I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires. I sit within the course of their heart. What to speak of my devotee, even those who are devotees of my devotee are very dear to me.
Wonderful. Thank you, Riyansh. So when the Lord, Supreme Lord is saying that I sit within the core of their hearts, that's why the word Hridayo, Krishta Hyodo, Bhakter, Bhakta Jana Priya. So devotees of my devotees are also very dear to me. That's what Lord Narayana. But this is when Lord is trying to explain all this to Durvasa Muni, he actually finds it difficult to understand all these things. So this is what I've done is actually a bit of a review, comments on the dialogue between Lord Narayan and Durvasa Muni based on this book, Saints Are My Heart by Shivram Swami Maharaj. So we will try to, over the few weeks, I mean, it's a whole book, but I don't want to actually read the whole book or anything like that, which would be against Shivram Maharaj's copyright or whatever issues. But I'm just going to highlight some points and all that, make it interesting enough so you people can one day get hold of this book and do read it, So really, this is Lord Narayan explaining to Durvasa Muni the pure devotee's heart. So I'll just do it in part one, like part one will be chapters 1 to 4, where we get to learn about who Durvasa is, Durvasa's nature, his personality, his qualities, his characteristics as well. Who controls who actually? When Durvasa Muni tries to understand who is controlling who, he said, I thought he approaches Lord Narayan and says, I thought you're on, you control everything. And then Lord Narayan says, no, actually, although even you think I control everything and I'm independent, but actually I'm not totally independent. How Lord Narayan exposes Durvasa's nature, his qualities, even to him, even to Durvasa, that look, you're actually like this, you put you've created havoc sometimes in other personalities' lives, even Maharaj Ambarish's life, what you've done. We learn about the qualities of Ambarish Maharaj is a pure devotee. Actually, also important thing is we learn about differences between an impersonalist, mystic yogi, and a pure devotee. How Durvasa progresses in spiritual life by the mercy of Lord Narayan and Ambarish Maharaj as well. So this is what I'm trying to cover. So when it comes to chapter 1, then I'll have to refer to some of my notes as well because I can't put everything here. So we understand that, when Ambarish Maharaj is king of Mathura, he's engaged in Lord's worship, he wouldn't actually protect himself. So that's why Lord Narayan protects him with the Sudarshan Chakra. So also I want to make a point that Lord Narayan actually, Krishna does explain this to Uddhav as well, that only unalloyed devotional service can bring me into under the control, not by mystic yoga or Sankhya philosophy or pious work or Vedic studies or austerities or any kind of renunciations. But my pure devotees go through the turbulent waters of material existence. So, and then devotees. So when Durvasa Muni actually approaches Lord Narayan and he starts to question him, he says, Lord, I have come to you for shelter because I've been chased by this Sudarshan Chakra and I've been advised by Lord Shiva also. I went to Shivalok and Lord Shiva said, we can't actually protect you. Lord Brahma cannot protect me. I thought that they could, I thought they were powerful enough to protect me, but they didn't give me any shelter. They didn't protect me, but they actually pointed me to go towards to you. So I've come to you. Will you not protect me? Will you not give me shelter? And Lord Narayan actually starts to then answer that, Lord Narayan says, I'll have to actually disclose my mind to Durvasa so that, he understands what is the position of my pure devotees, the Vaishnavas, so Durvasa starts to ask him, he says, who controls who then, uh, demigods are under my control. That's what Lord Narayan says to him. He said, they can't save you without my sanction. So devotees, demigods are not totally independent. I control them. But then, I am independent, but I am also a prisoner. So Lord Narayan said, I can't really protect you, I can't give you shelter, because if I do that, then I'll be implicated in being unbiased or biased towards you. I would have disrespected Ambarish Maharaj. I would have let Ambarish Maharaj down. So actually, I'm not, although you think I'm independent, but I'm actually a prisoner of my devotees. They have captured me already, and I am in their heart. It says Vaishnavas become my abode. I live in their hearts. Everyone, oh, I don't know why. Sorry, I got Siri coming up or something. Yeah, so everywhere they go, that becomes a holy place. Wherever my pure devotees go, that becomes a holy place. So I'm more devoted to my devotees. Ambarish is worried about Durvasa as well. He's standing by the banks of the river Yamuna. So he's trying to make clear to Durvasa that, Durvasa actually does not understand why Lord and his pure devotees love each other. And within this chapter, he is exposed as an impersonalist, and his heart is like a spiritual desert. So Lord Narayan looks at Durvasa Muni and he says, oh, so much of austerities and mystic yoga and all these practices of studying scriptures and all that has made his heart so strong and like a spiritual desert that he actually doesn't understand. He's questioning, why do you love your pure devotees? He's asking questions like, why do your pure devotees love you? Why? And then Lord has to try to unfold and explain to him that actually it is my Hladini Shakti, which is unlimited in me. So I'm already blissful. I am full of my blissful, unlimited Hladini Shakti. So I don't need any. But my devotees also possess that in an infinitesimal small amounts. So they also experience that. And we're both Atmarams. So how can you understand the nature of someone who loves someone? Because your heart is like a spiritual desert. You are so strong-hearted, and you're an impersonalist. So impersonalists cannot understand the personality of a supreme person or another person. It's like somebody who's in love, and then somebody who's not in love. They say, well, what makes you love somebody? What makes you um, uh, have these kind of feelings of expression? So obviously, Lord Narayan is actually saying, I cannot save you. Here, Durvasa is also exposed as being selfish, Lord Narayan points out to him that, you're going around and you're actually running away to protect your own body. You're so engrossed in your bodily concept of life that you get upset very easily, you get angry very easily, just because of some little mistake, or it's not really even a mistake by Ambarish Maharaj, but you get offended so easily. And then just to protect yourself, you're running away from hiding here, there, and everywhere within this universe, going to Shivalok, going to Brahmalok, and you're crying out like, free me from my sufferings, So you're still being selfish, but I can't be that merciful to you, because really my mercy is dependent on the mercy of my pure devotees. So Krishna says there is the devotees' mercy and my mercy. There's a slight difference in that. Then from this, Lord Narayan says, my mercy follows the mercy of my devotees, actually. So I can't really save you. Lord Narayan reminds Durvasa of an incident that actually happened then. This is explained in the book, that once, Durvasa Muni went with a delegation when some 10 demons were attacking Dwarka, and Dwarka was under threat. So Durvasa Muni was told by Narad Muni to approach and go to Sutala and ask Bali Maharaj to see if Vaman Dev or Lord Narayan can actually help him. So Durvasa Muni goes with a delegation to Bali Maharaj. And then Vaman Dev says, well, you got to ask Bali Maharaj. If he lets me come and to save Dwarka, then I'll come. So he approaches Bali Maharaj. And Bali Maharaj says, no, actually, I can never be separated from my Lord. The Bali Maharaj, Vaman Dev is like my gatekeeper. He promised me that he would remain as a gatekeeper. And we've seen that in the pastimes of Vaman Dev and Bali Maharaj. So then Lord Narayan reminds him that, you came with a delegation, but Bali Maharaj refused. He didn't actually comply with you. And then you said, well, what will happen to Dwarka? Then Bali Maharaj said, well, that's the fate of Dwarka. He's not concerned about Dwarka, whatever the fate of that will be. So you went back, you had to go back. Then whatever happened. So that was some sort of pastime that actually, at that time, when the Durvasa Muni was reminded of this, that this was your kind of behavior, that just to do that, you would approach me. The Bali Maharaj refused to be separated from Vaman Dev, who promised to be his gatekeeper. And only because Bali Maharaj is Prahlad Maharaj's grandson. So this incident is actually explained very nicely to expose that, here you are trying to beg protection from me, but actually I can't really do anything for you. So this is in the first chapter. Okay, so then we go to sort of like chapter 2, where Durvasa is exposed as a heartless, showing no mercy, and that is another characteristic. And he's not really fully surrendered, despite having heard of surrender to the Supreme Lord. So in this chapter, Lord Narayan explains the purpose of all these different incarnations, that why he comes to protect his devotees, and of all these devotees, Lord's mercy is different from the devotees' mercy. He explains to Durvasa Muni how he loves Prahlad Maharaj the most. He asked Durvasa Muni in this conversation that what did Prahlad Maharaj actually explain to me when I had freed him from Hiranyakashipu? He killed Hiranyakashipu, and then he asks him, Prahlad Maharaj asks to save his father, actually. So let me find the notes here. Yeah. So Lord Narayan actually tells Durvasa Muni that I am so proud of Prahlad Maharaj, because he actually, after all that he had gone through, with all the Hiranyakashipu, his own father, trying to kill him in so many different ways, but Prahlad Maharaj, when he was asked, he only asked for liberation for his father. And then the other thing he asked, he said he was more concerned for fools and rascals who are actually attached and they make plans for material existence and remain attached to this material way of life. And so Lord Narayan actually explains to Durvasa that Prahlad is always thinking of bringing lost souls back to me. That is why I love him so much. He tries to increase my innumerable devotees, and in that way, I'm indebted to Prahlad Maharaj in so many ways. I'm so indebted that he doesn't have any more material motivations. He's completely surrendered. But look at you, so you are not that surrendered to me. So Durvasa is actually trying to understand why Lord loves Prahlad Maharaj so much. And Lord Narayan says, that of all the great Mahajans, Prahlad Maharaj is the greatest. And this is even confirmed by Lord Shiva, who tells Narad Muni that, Prahlad is the greatest of all the Mahajans. And whoever follows Prahlad Maharaj's example, then they are also as great as Prahlad Maharaj. So this is actually revealed. And so Durvasa actually here tries to um, redeem himself or tries to compare these new devotees. He said, but look, you've got eternal associates. Prahlad is only a sort of like a new kind of devotee, just come on the scene. Why would he be loved by you so much? He said, my eternal associates are there. They serve me all the time, but they don't go through as much tribulations and as much as Prahlad Maharaj has done. He went through, he remained unattached, he never asked for protection when his father was trying to kill him. So that's why I'm so indebted to him. So this is where, no effort to protect himself. So he's merciful to non-surrendered souls. Prahlad Maharaj is so concerned about those who are not surrendered. He instructed his schoolmates, and he was always thinking of bringing lost souls back to me. So greatest of all Mahajans. So this is what's covered in chapter 2, and we understand the behavior of Lord Narayan's love for Prahlad Maharaj is so great. And Durvasa actually doesn't understand all these things. He's still questioning, and he's trying to seek redemption. So then, Durvasa actually, I'll just, yeah. So Durvasa in chapter 3, more or less, Durvasa is exposed as sort of someone who gets angered very easily, is disrespectful, and in putting others in danger for his selfish ends. And he actually tries to make conversation that, look, I'm a Brahmin actually. Lord, you are supposed to be Brahmana Deva, means affectionate to Brahmins. So why wouldn't you protect me as a Brahmin? You know, you're supposed to be so affectionate to Brahmins. So then Lord Narayan says, yes, but you are not actually an ideal, you're intolerable, you're disrespectful, and you're not really an ideal representative of Brahmins. You say you saw Brahmins have certain qualities, you know, they are merciful, but they're not so absorbed in bodily concept of life, but you are, you know. Then Lord Narayan actually challenges him and says, what kind of a Brahman actually are you? You know, you try to hide from my chakra, you absorbed in bodily concept of life. And then you, if I actually regard you as a Brahman and then give you shelter, then I would have given shelter to an aparadhi. So what will other devotees think? You know, I would have abandoned Ambarish Maharaj as well. So you, you know, my devotee is giving up everything, but you just like an, what kind of an Atmaram are you as well, you know? But then Lord Narayan points out to him that actually you are an extreme example of the Rudra principle. Well, Rudra principle is actually, Durvasa then tries to say, well, that is my nature, you know, I just get angered easily. I've you know, this incident, you know, that is cited in this chapter is between Lord Ram. So Shri Maharaj explains this, that, you know, Lord Ram was once in a meeting with Yamaraj, and this is in Lord Ram's pastimes, and Lord Ram had instructed Lakshman to be the doorkeeper and not let anybody come in till he has finished the meeting with Yamaraj, and not to let anybody in. If anybody tries to come in forcefully or does allow him to, then he'll have to face the sword of Lord Ram. So he had instructed Lakshman to do that. But then suddenly Durvasa Muni appeared and he just demanded that he wanted to see Lord Ram. And Lakshman was put into a predicament that what am I going to do here? Durvasa will just get angry. He'll end up doing something crazy. He'll just curse me or curse somebody or do crazy thing. So he had to break that promise that he had made to Lord Ram that he would be a proper doorkeeper, would not let anybody go in. So he had to barge into this meeting with Lord Ram and explain to him that, look, this Durvasa Muni has appeared, you know. I don't know what he wants, but I'm sorry. So Lord Ram had to quickly finish off this meeting with Yamaraj and let Durvasa Muni come in. And all Durvasa Muni was saying, look, I've come here, I'm hungry and I want to eat. So Lord Narayan is explaining to him, say, look, this is what you did. He said, you just, for your own hunger, you just came in, barged in my time as Lord Ram, and then you demanded, you just wanted to eat something, and you ate, and then you left. But you also made it very difficult, Lakshman. So then I had to send Lakshman because I had promised that, you know, whoever does that has to face the consequences. And Lord Lakshman, you separated Lakshman from me by your actions. I had to send Lakshman away, and then Lakshman had to go away. I think there was, it is in that pastime where, so this gets,
that he will destroy Ayodhya if Lakshman don't tell him.
sorry, Riaz?
I
Don't-
heard Durvasa Muni told to Lakshman that if you don't allow me, I will destroy the whole Ayodhya.
That's right, yeah, he's destroy Ayodhya. And so what do you know what Lakshman had to do then?
No, Prabhuji, I don't know.
No, we'll have to just, I'd have to look in the book again and understand that, you know, actually this happened. So he said, when I appeared in Treta Yuga as Ramchandra, it was you who separated me from my beloved Lakshman. Where Raman failed, you succeeded. That's what Lord Narayan says to Durvasa Muni. Because it was too painful, the Lord would not repeat the pastimes. So Lord didn't actually go further into it. So Lord Ramchandra had to conclude his meeting with Yamaraj, politely received Durvasa, and then Ayodhya. So Lord Chandra. Sorry, who's that?
It was Kamakshi.
Oh, so yeah. So then
Is somebody still on? I think it is.
So wanting to hear the glories of pure devotion, Durvasa asked, "Oh, I am ashamed of myself. If you think my unqualified, please describe the characteristics of Atma, Nived, and devotee." So Lord Narayan, obviously, this conversation, between continues exposing the different characteristics of Rudra. I just wanted to, at this point, explain who Durvasa is actually is. It explains in this book here that in Brahma Purana, Brahmanda Purana, it narrates how once Lord Shiva became so influenced in a disagreement with Brahma that he was impossible to live with. That's actually what Durvasa means, somebody who is impossible to live with. The Parvati complained to her husband, and so when Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu were petitioned for a son by Atri Muni and Ansuya, Shiva blessed them with Durvasa, his own partial expansion and the personification of his previous angry disposition. Thus, Durvasa Muni is universally known as having a very irritable nature. So that's the nature of Durvasa. So he's actually how Lord Shiva gives him as to Ansuya and Atri Muni. So I think this is what I've covered in chapters 1, 2, 3. This is actually from Srimad Bhagavatam. So I think I would stop there, Nabi, and see if we can continue.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Very, very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll cover a bit more.
Wednesday. Any questions? Anybody, any questions, any comments? Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think that'll be.
Thank you. Well done. Well done. Good effort.